You ever wonder what's really running the show inside your body? I mean, beyond your conscious thoughts. There's this silent, incredibly powerful communication network that's always on, managing everything from your energy levels to how you react to stress. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on that very system, the endocrine system. Let's dive into this hidden world of chemical messengers.
When we think about our bodies sending messages, our brains usually jump straight to the nervous system, right? It's electric, it's fast, it's point to point. But our bodies need constant, long-term regulation, and not every single cell is wired into that neural highway. For that, we've got another network, one that's just as crucial.
Think of it like this. The neural system, that's like sending a direct text message. It's lightning fast, it goes to one specific person, and the conversation is over in a flash. The endocrine system, though, that's more like a radio broadcast. It sends its messages out through the bloodstream, totally wireless, reaching tons of different places all at once for a slower, more lasting effect. You absolutely need both to keep everything running smoothly.
So the stars of this whole broadcast system are hormones. And this definition really nails it. First, they're non-nutrient, which means they aren't food or fuel, they're pure information. They act as intercellular messengers, which is just a fancy way of saying they carry messages between cells. And this last part is wild. They're produced in trace amounts. A tiny bit of a hormone can have a massive impact on your entire body.
Okay, so how does this system stay organized? It's not just a bunch of hormones floating around randomly. Nope, the best way to picture it is like a really well-run company with a super clear chain of command, right from the top down.
At the very top of the org chart, we have the CEO, the hypothalamus. This tiny but incredibly powerful part of the brain is like the command center. It's constantly monitoring your body's status. It knows your temperature, your energy levels, everything. And it makes all the high-level decisions, telling other glands when it's time to get to work.
And this CEO doesn't just yell orders into a void. It issues very specific commands using two types of hormones. Releasing hormones are the green light. They say go and stimulate the next gland in the chain. Inhibiting hormones are the red light. They say stop. These messages travel through a private hotline, a special portal circulatory system that goes directly to its number 2.
And that senior manager is the pituitary gland. It's tucked away safely in a little bony cavity, and its whole job is to take those high-level directives from the hypothalamus and translate them into specific, actionable orders for all the different departments in the body.
So you get this really elegant flow of information, right? The CEO, the hypothalamus, detects something needs to be done. It sends a message down its private line. The manager, the pituitary, gets the message and then sends out a new order to the specific gland that's responsible for that exact task. It's incredibly efficient.
Okay, so let's see how this whole chain of command plays out in the real world. We've got the management structure down, but what do these specialized departments, the glands, actually do? Let's look at a couple of everyday scenarios. All right, picture this. You're walking down the street at night, and a dog suddenly leaps out from behind a car, barking like crazy. Your heart starts pounding, your senses feel sharper. What just happened inside you?
Bam! That was your body's emergency response team springing into action, the adrenal glands. In response to that sudden stress, they unleash the famous fight or flight hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline.
And the effects are immediate. Your alertness spikes. Your heart beats faster and harder, pumping more blood. Your breathing speeds up to get more oxygen. Your body even starts breaking down stored energy, glycogen, to flood your system with glucose for instant fuel. It's this brilliant, ancient system preparing you to either face that threat or get out of there fast. Okay, let's switch gears to a much calmer situation. You've just finished a donut or a really sweet coffee. Your body is calm, but the endocrine system has a new job to do. What's its next move?
This job goes straight to the energy management department, the pancreas. More specifically, to a little cluster of cells in the pancreas called the islets of Langerhans. Their main gig right now is to manage all that sugar or glucose that just hit your bloodstream.
See, the pancreas is performing this incredible balancing act with two hormones that have opposite jobs. When your blood sugar spikes after that snack, beta cells release insulin, the storage hormone. It's like a key that unlocks your cells so they can take up glucose from the blood. But if your blood sugar gets too low, alpha cells release glucagon, the release hormone, which tells your liver, hey, release some of that stored glucose. It's this constant push and pull that keeps you stable. But what happens when that delicate balance breaks down? Well, if the body can't produce enough insulin, or if the cells stop listening to it, you get prolonged high blood sugar, and that can lead to a really complex disorder called diabetes mellitus.
It's a serious reminder of just how critical this hormonal regulation is for our health. So, we know who sends the messages, and we've seen them in action. But with all these hormones floating around the bloodstream, how do they know where to go? How does a message for your liver not get accidentally picked up by your big toe?
The answer is all about specificity. It's kind of like a lock in a key. Every hormone has a unique shape, and it can only fit into a cell that has a perfectly shaped receptor for it. These hormone receptors make sure that every single message gets delivered only to its intended target. No junk matter.
And this delivery happens in two main ways, which is pretty cool. Some hormones, like proteins, are basically knocking on the door. They bind to a receptor on the outside of the cell, and that triggers a chain reaction inside, using something called a second messenger. But other hormones, like steroids, literally have a key to get inside. They pass right through the cell membrane and go talk directly to the cell's DNA to change what it's doing.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom back out to the big picture. All of these glands, all of these hormones and receptors, they're all working together all the time for one single, absolutely vital purpose.
And that ultimate goal is homeostasis. It's your body's nonstop quest for stability, for balance. It's about keeping your temperature, your blood sugar, your water levels, you name it, all within a very narrow, perfect range. The endocrine system is the master regulator of this constant, life-sustaining, balancing act.
All right, so let's do a super quick recap. Your body communicates in two ways, the fast, wired neural system and the slower, wireless endocrine system. That system is set up like a company, with the hypothalamus as the CEO and the pituitary as the manager. Different glands are like specialized departments, handling everything from emergencies to energy. And the whole thing works because hormones are specific, delivering messages only to the cells that are meant to receive them.
And that brings us to a final thought to leave you with. This silent network of chemical messengers doesn't just manage our body's plumbing, it deeply influences how we experience the world, our moods, our energy, our stress, which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to ponder. How much of what we feel every day is a conscious choice, and how much is just the result of this exquisite, invisible chemical coordination happening inside us?